They're welcomed at the largest estates in Palm Beach, but they're not high society. They're greeted warmly at the town's exclusive clubs, although they aren't members. They often attend the best balls and parties, but are never on the guest list. Even during the height of the season, they can park anywhere on Worth Avenue and not get a ticket. It's all part of a typical workday when you're a member of the Palm Beach Fire Rescue Department, respected nationally as one of the best trained and most sophisticated fire departments of its size in the country. But it wasn't always that way. Two fires, 60 years apart, were the catalyst that helped to shape this unique fire department, which blends Palm Beach tradition with 1990s innovation. Palm Beach's first fire department was actually based in West Palm Beach. The Flagler Alerts was a volunteer company formed in 1894 to fight fires throughout what was then known as the Lake Country. When an alarm sounded in Palm Beach, firefighters had to take a train across the railroad bridge to get to the fire. It was the heyday of the huge wooden resort hotels, such as the Breakers and the Royal Ponciana, once the largest wooden building in the world. It was also the era of the big fires, conflagrations that roared through buildings made of resin-soaked Dade County pine. In 1903, when fire broke out in Flagler's original Breakers Hotel, the volunteers arrived in time to watch it burn to the ground. The hotel was rebuilt, but like most structures of the time, was once again made of wood. In 1921, mindful of the increasing value of the town's real estate, Palm Beach formed its own small fire department. 4 years later, in March 1925, it endured its most severe test when the Breakers again erupted in flame. Witnesses said the fire was out of control almost from the start. Firemen and equipment came by rail from as far away as Jacksonville and Miami to help the local fire departments. But aided by a brisk sea breeze, the blaze soon engulfed other hotels, homes, and businesses. The fire's roar was punctuated by the cannon-shot sound of exploding gasoline stations. Among the crowd of 10,000 who stood and watched were marooned hotel guests surrounded by their luggage. Few of those fighting the blaze were seasoned professionals. Most were volunteers who wore wet blankets to protect them from the flames.
The call came in about 4 o'clock. The building fell before dark. I had never seen anything burn as vigorously and as violently as that one did.
5.5 hours after the call came in, not a single timber of the vast building was left standing. Historians place the blame for the worst fire in Palm Beach history on a mislaid curling iron. The Breakers blaze was a turning point for the town's fledgling fire department. The next year, men from island families were enlisted as volunteers to augment the fire department's meager staff. Town residents began donating money for modern firefighting equipment, a philanthropical tradition that endures today. The fire era was over shortly afterward. The Breakers was rebuilt, this time in fire-resistant cement and stone. Elsewhere, stucco and concrete replaced wood as standard construction materials. For the next 6 decades, the fire department maintained a unique position in this wealthy enclave. Unable to afford island real estate, chiefs and assistant chiefs lived and raised their families above the firehouses. When the department needed equipment, wealthy residents often raised the money for it themselves. A 1950s children's book shows scenes typical of the fire service at that time in Palm Beach and around the country, scenes that amuse today's professional staff. Until the bell rang, firefighters slept, ate, played cards, or horseshoes. Then they bravely entered burning buildings with little protective gear other than a coat and helmet.
Back in that period of time, The more smoke you could eat or take when you went into a building, probably the better man or the better firefighter you were.
Assistant Chief Gene Frazier has been with the department since 1958.
Most of the time when you were in a fire station years back, that time was yours. The only thing that you had to worry about was being prepared when that bell rang and you weren't going to respond to a fire call. If you wanted to put out the extra effort to try and study for exams, to be able to promote through the system, you had those individuals. If you just wanted to sit down and let the world go by, as long as you maintained your position on the back of the truck, that's where you were going to be.
Today, firefighters' only free time is late at night. When not on calls, they're busy training and cross-training, learning firefighting theories and practicing life-saving techniques. They take tests or file reports on the department's sophisticated computer system. The need for such training was evident in 1983 when the Everglades Club caught on fire. Because the fire appeared minor, firefighters grabbed only their bunker coats and helmets as they dashed inside. It was nearly a fatal mistake.
When we pulled in there, it didn't look that severe. It was a lot of smoke, but nothing unusual. So I decided to go ahead and use the 1.5 inch for a quick attack, and that was my big mistake.
Retired Assistant Chief Val Williams was a captain that day. He led a 3-person crew upstairs and was unlocking apartments when he heard a scream.
And I heard one of the guys holler, "Oh my God." And when I looked up, I saw fire, floor to ceiling, coming out of the room that they had just went into. And it just instantly engulfed the whole area, the hallway, everything was, from floor to ceiling, was all flame. And I guess it was obviously a backdraft.
I heard a loud bang, or like a small explosion. According to the guys outside, it was pretty loud. And Kevin was pretty much blown back on top of me, so he came up with the hose line and fell back. And then it was pretty intense at that point still, but we both got very low because of the fire. But at that point, the fire was on the floor and low. It was all over. The fire was all over. And we backed out, and then we stood up because we realized we were in trouble. We could hear the captain screaming. And as we came through, another blast of fire came through at that point.
They'd found a small hot spot near the base of the floor, or where the wall meets the floor, and he gave it a shot with the line. And evidently what happened is when the water went into the room where the fire was, and it was so intensely hot that it expanded, and when it did, the pressure blew the door open into the room they were in, and allowed the backdraft to happen. And I looked and I saw the figures of the guys coming out through the fire, and then I realized that I was burning. So I didn't bother going down the steps. I grabbed the rail and jumped over the rail to the ground floor. And how I didn't get hurt, I don't know, but probably my adrenaline was to the point where I could have jumped off a tall building and wouldn't have got hurt. But the railing had immediately gotten so hot that it just peeled the skin right off the palm of my hand.
Williams had 3rd-degree burns on his hand, and 2nd-degree burns where his uniform's polyester pants melted on his legs. Burroughs nearly lost an ear. In addition, he and firefighter Kevin Spina were also burned on their necks and wrists. It was time to take training seriously.
I think over the years it was pretty much tradition that guys didn't wear air packs, guys didn't wear bunker pants. It was something that upon arrival didn't look that severe, except for some smoke coming out of the roof, but no open flame. And it was something that looked like maybe he just didn't quite think before he went in without the bunker gear. And I think with that little incident, people have become a little bit more receptive to full gear.
We learned a very valuable lesson, one that I can personally attest to. The fact that when you enter a fire, you make sure you have your full protective gear on.
Like the Breakers fire 60 years earlier, the Everglades fire was a turning point for Palm Beach Fire Rescue. Afterward, the department instituted tough new training procedures. Experts were called in to conduct seminars on modern firefighting and rescue techniques. Town residents donated money for new equipment. One of these $136,000 pumpers was purchased with donations from town residents. When safer protective gear came on the market, the town began buying new $1,500 sets for each firefighter, who are trained to wear it for every call.
That if I was fully bunkered out, Nomex hood, had my gloves on, bunker pants, everything that meets today's code, I would not have sustained a singed hair.
The town's once sleepy little provincial fire department has entered the 1990s as a well-oiled modern machine with an operating budget of $5 million and 60 highly trained combat personnel working out of 3 fire rescue stations at Phipps Ocean Park, Station 1 at Town Hall, and the North County Road Station. In 1982, the Palm Beach Fire Department became Palm Beach Fire Rescue, reflecting the fact that all personnel are certified firefighters and emergency medical technicians. Many are also certified as paramedics and municipal fire inspectors. Palm Beach Fire Rescue is an equal opportunity employer. In Palm Beach, innovation does not ignore tradition. Instead of tearing down the deteriorated 1927 North County Road firehouse, the town restored the structure, which is on the National Register of Historic Places, retaining the high ceilings, fireplaces, even the huge antique dining table. Working for Palm Beach Fire Rescue presents an unusual set of challenges. A workday here might mean checking whether air-conditioned party tents meet fire codes, inspecting elaborate party decorations for a $1,000 a ticket benefit ball, or saving the life of a member of a European royal family. In Palm Beach, a house may be a large estate with several floors and dozens of high-ceilinged rooms. And while the homes themselves are often worth millions, the art and furnishings are sometimes priceless. The town's buildings are some of the oldest in South Florida. Many are historic. Small shops are often wedged tightly together, allowing a fire to easily spread. To protect such valuable property, Palm Beach firefighters have unique training in salvage operations.
In the average community, you're concerned about the people in the home and the home itself. In Palm Beach, we're obviously concerned about the people, but in many times of the year, we don't have people in the home because the homes are closed up. The home may have $1 million painting in it, carpets, or what other kinds of expensive furnishings that you quite obviously have to be equally concerned about. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go in and spray water around and do a lot of damage saving a home, and yet you do $2 million worth of damage to paintings or carpeting or what have you. So they're not going to go in and break glass, do ventilation exercises that you may in a less expensive home to save the structure. Because when you're dealing with a $50,000 or $60,000 home, the chances are that the structure itself is the most valuable area. In a mansion, that may not be the case. There may be more valuable items in the structure than the structure itself.
Palm Beach Fire Rescue uses the enhanced 911 system to dispatch emergencies. Units arrive at the scene in just 3 to 5 minutes. More than 60% of the department's calls are medical emergencies, handled 24 hours a day by 2 Advanced Life Support or ALS units, bought with funds donated by town residents. The department's fire engines are also equipped with ALS gear. These vehicles carry state-of-the-art pre-hospital care equipment. Pulse oximeters take just 10 seconds to provide vital readouts on a patient's pulse and oxygen levels. Cardiac kits contain equipment and drugs to help stabilize heart attack victims. There are no hospitals in Palm Beach, so tenders on the town's 3 bridges are often ordered to hold the bridges down until rescue units are across. In 1991, Palm Beach Fire Rescue became part of the new county-wide trauma network, able to use the county's Trauma Hawk helicopter to transport critically injured patients. Even the town's dispatchers are trained to save lives. Under a program called Emergency Medical Dispatch, they are certified to give medical assistance, such as CPR instruction, over the phone while rescue units are rushing to the scene. Firefighting equipment is equally sophisticated. The town has 3 E1 1,250-gallon pumpers and 2 85-foot Sutphen aerial platforms. A smaller reserve engine is also available. The department's training, equipment, and public service have been recognized nationally. In 1985, Firehouse magazine named Palm Beach Fire Rescue one of the top 25 fire departments in the country. Many of the changes at Palm Beach Fire Rescue are due to the innovative leadership style of Chief Ken Elmore, who came here in 1981 after 23 years with the Washington, D.C. Fire Department. He was the first chief to come from outside the department and the first not to live above the firehouse.
You can have great people or you can have great equipment, but if you don't have both, you don't have a great department, and we have both.
Chief Elmore is legendary for his Friday chats, visits to personnel to distribute praise and hear criticism. At his instigation, the department has become fully computerized and placed greater emphasis on public education and fire prevention programs. Modernization is also saving the public money every year in the form of lower homeowners' insurance premiums due to the town's improved rating from the National Insurance Safety Office.
Palm Beach has a Class 3 insurance rating, which we were a 4 and we gained a 3, I think about 2 years ago. That's probably about as high as we can get with, it's a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the worst and 1 being the best. There are, I believe, 19 fire departments in the state of Florida with a 3, with a 1, 2, or 3. There are only 2 or 3 1s, and I'm not sure how many 2s and 3s, but there's only 19 total with 3 or better. And of course, we're one of those 19.
The department is so serious about its professionalism that it began a Management by Objective, or MBO, program in October 1990. Each month, every member of the department receives a memo outlining each person's training objective that month. At the end of the month, the department compiles the reports and knows how many hours were spent, for example, practicing with the department's rescue boat. The MBO program is managed by Assistant Chief Kent Keltz.
You don't just go to school, become a firefighter, and then you sit back and wait for the big one. It's not happening that way. We have to keep practicing, we have to keep training, we have to do a lot of hands-on experience, as well as just normal studies and testing.
The result is the department staff cross-trained in every necessary skill. Such continual training also ensures that personnel are always ready for recertification tests.
Right now, I believe we're the only department in the area that is actually doing the documentation that we're doing and backing up our training program this way.
Public service is a critical component of the modern Palm Beach Fire Rescue Department, which offers free blood pressure screenings and a Learn Not to Burn program for students at the town's schools. Memories of the Breakers fire linger, however, even now. In 1991, as part of its fire prevention program, the department conducted a hands-on fire extinguisher drill for 500 Breakers employees who learned to pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
The personnel in this department understand very clearly that we are service-oriented, that we're here to serve the public, and when the public calls, we respond, as opposed to what it is that they want. Are they asking for something that meets within our criteria? And that's just not the case here. We respond to anything from a building that's on fire to helping somebody back into bed that fell out of bed in the middle of the night.
Fire Marshal John Wandell and Fire Inspector Craig Olson are responsible for helping prevent fires from starting. They make certain building plans meet fire codes and administer a program that requires older apartments and condominiums to install smoke alarms, sprinkler systems, and self-closing doors. They inspect party tents and ballrooms and encourage businesses to install Knox box systems, key cases located outside buildings that can be unlocked with a single special pass key carried in fire trucks. Innovation, tempered by tradition, has produced excellence at Palm Beach Fire Rescue, a department forged in the crucible of 2 fires, prepared to protect the lives and property of this beautiful palm-swept island well into the 21st century.